Wednesday, Adam Carolla brings his serious love of cars and his seriously funny point of view to speed with the Car Show, and nothing is off limits. The Car Show premieres this Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, only on Speed, your Motorsports Authority. I want to do a top 10 drop back, beginning with our race leader, Elliott Sadler and Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, a lot of times it's the equipment that KHI brings to the racetrack. And how about this truck that Elliott Sadler has tonight? It's run twice this year. At Kansas City, it went to Victory Lane with Clint Boyer driving. And at Charlotte, it finished second. That's a pretty good pedigree. And Elliott Sadler's got it out front. Hermie?
Well, Ray, Nelson Piquet Jr. is having a career night so far. He's driven his way up to second. He's actually faster when he's not in traffic than Elliott Sadler. But once he got close to the back bumper of the 2 truck, he started to pick up a little bit of a push. So they're trying to talk him away to find clean air on the nose of that 8 truck to try to battle the 2 for the race lead. Ray?
You know, I think it's really been the testing program that has made the biggest difference this year for Joey Coulter. In the last 3 races, he has been absolutely fantastic. And the real point of it is, he said it's the communication that he learned with his crew chief, Harold Hawley, about how to give him precise information, not just general information. Lots more conversation on the radio, and this 22 truck has been up to the front. Hermie?
Ray, James Busher is now 4th on the racetrack. They did not pit on this last caution, but he is complaining about his truck being really, really tight, especially in turns 1 and 2. On the next caution, they're hoping to come down pit road and free this truck up, because this truck has been really strong on the 1.5 miles. Ray?
When you look back through the field just a little bit further, you'll see Jason White. And Jason White said that it's really the testing thing turned his program around too. His truck was dragging so much at each of the racetracks, and he just couldn't figure out what the problem was. Well, they went to Rockingham and did a test, and Ron Hornaday came to help. They learned a lot of things about how to get that truck better, sent it back to KHI. They made some adjustments, and boy, has it been different. All through the weekend here, he said the thing just rolls through the corner exactly the way he wants it. Now, how about the 3 right behind him of Austin Dillon? They've got NRA sponsorship on the side of that truck tonight. And in practice, he said he felt like his truck was absolutely perfect going in, a little bit loose off. But he said on the radio earlier he can't believe how different this racetrack is tonight from the way it was during practice. Hermie?
Well, Ray, we talked about Kyle Busch qualifying 8th, but having to start this race at the tail of the field because he missed the pre-race drivers meeting. Well, he's got a decent truck, but he does not have a winning truck. Turns 3 and 4 is his shortfall right now. He's too loose on entry, losing a lot of speed through the 3 and 4 ends of this racetrack. Ray?
Garbage sideways. That's how Johnny Sauter talks about his truck on the radio, says it has no control at all. And when he comes off, he's got the steering wheel going in every direction. Garbage sideways is not a lot of encouraging news for his crew chief, Joe Shear. Right behind them, the number 60 of Cole Witt. Cole Witt is driving chassis number 84. It's been the workhorse for this team. And he said he felt like they had a top 5 truck tonight, but they just never were able to get it good enough, and we've got a battle up front for the lead. Looks like the 8 truck is making a move.
Nelson Piquet Jr. on the inside of the racetrack trying to get by Elliott Sadler. He gets in behind the 15 of Josh Richards. That allows Sadler to move back by the 8 of Nelson Piquet Jr. But what a run that 8 had on Sadler.
He sure does. Hey, Nelson Piquet Jr. has been extremely impressive to me this entire season. Had that great runner up finish in Nashville. He wants more.
Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, Rick, we want to finish out our top 10 drop back. Give you a word about Ron Hornaday Jr. He was loose on entry. They came in on lap 19 for fuel only and made a track bar adjustment. And you're right, they went too far. He's now fighting a tight condition, especially on exit. So they're hoping for the next caution to come back in, take some of that adjustment back out, and get Ron back up closer to the top 5.
You know, guys, we talked about how good these Goodyear tires were here and that they weren't falling off much. Remember, the top 4 trucks running right now have not pitted yet. And everyone else pitted on lap number 19. But the problem, the bad part of that is we've completed 45 laps. Remember, they qualified, did not top them off, had pace laps. These guys are very close to coming down pit road.
And here another run by Nelson Piquet Jr. closing in on that 2 of Elliott Sadler. You know, this is the most laps that Elliott Sadler has ever led in a race. His previous high
10 laps away from pitting under green
was 32. That was in Daytona right before our own Michael Waltrip went by him for the win.
Glad it wasn't 33.
Got too slow until the head.
So Nelson Piquet Jr. has been able to close the gap a few different times against Elliott Sadler. The problem is he hasn't been able to make the pass. Listen, Allgaier checking out behind pit road, racing under the lights at Kentucky Speedway. Stay with us. More here on Speed. Welcome back. Elliott Sadler has decided to give up the lead to come on to pit road. We've gone 30 laps under green since the last caution came out. So Elliott on pit road now.
New pit road here. They've moved pit road actually closer to the
grandstands.
Straightaway.
Right.
Grandstands, right?
They're taking a half a pound of air pressure out of the left front and just a little bit less out of the left rear. Elliott said he wants his truck to cut just a little bit better, but on the radio he said overall it feels pretty comfy. They go around 4 tire stop, fuel in it, and he'll be away. Good stop for the 2 bunch.
You know, you talked about 30-some laps since the caution flag, but that's the first time Elliott Sadler had been down pit road. So some great speed, great times on his truck late in that run, Phil. And these teams will make note of that. We're a third of the way through this baby. They know the tires will run that far and still run really fast. So a lot of information being gathered by the teams while these trucks make laps. Here comes Nelson Piquet Jr. to pit road. His turn to try to get that
Here he comes.
thing rode down. He's got to get it down to the pit road speed by that yellow line there. It looked like he did a good job of doing so. A little bit out of control at first, but he got it gathered up.
45 miles per hour on pit road. Hermie.
Nelson Piquet Jr. gives up the race lead to come down pit road. He really loves his truck. The only adjustments he's made on the racetrack is with air blowers on the right rear tire. He's bounced back and forth between a little bit loose and a little bit tight. There'll be no adjustments on this stop. 1 piece of tape off the right front grille, 4 tires, and Sunoco fuel. Nelson Piquet Jr. had a good truck so far tonight.
Plucked a little bit of tape off the front of that baby. Usually as the sun goes down, they'll have maybe a little bit too much tape early, knowing that it'll cool off and that'll be good for later. They must have missed it a little bit, took some air off that, or excuse me, some tape off. That'll change the aerodynamics of that truck a little bit. Be interesting to see if it's a plus or a minus for Nelson.
These pit stops
soon enough.
Yeah, these pit stops have given the lead to Joey Coulter in the 22 truck. That's a battle for the 3rd spot right there. Jason White, who's having a great run in the Gunbroker Chevrolet.
Yeah, best finish this season of 10th, but here a year ago he was 4th. So
exactly.
He likes this track, and there's your leader on pit road.
Coulter gives up the lead, and as does James Busher. He comes off of the racetrack as well. Now the battle for the lead is on the right side of your screen. We'll go down to pit road and Ray.
Just a little bit free for Joey Coulter. They said they were thinking about taking a big swing at this thing, thinking that the racetrack is going to get worse throughout the course of the night. And Harold Hawley said no, little adjustments here. Air pressure also on the left side, a lot like the 2 did. Hermie?
Yeah, the 31 of James Busher just completed his pit stop back on pit road. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and a half pound out of the left side tires.
Right side of your screen, that is for the lead. Jason White on the high side looks like he has to catch the truck. That allows the 3 of Austin Dillon to move into the top spot.
Those guys were battling that lap traffic 2 times across the start finish. Whoa!
Whoa, Jason.
The hole closes as you see Austin Dillon go through, and now around goes the 16. John King sideways. Caution flag will fly.
Boy, that wreck started a long time before it ever happened, didn't it?
Boy, it sure did.
Jason thought he was going to be able to shoot the gap on those trucks, put John in a bit of a bind, and John finally lost control of that number 16 truck.
I think we'll see everybody else come to pit road, and that should allow the trucks that pitted, Elliott Sadler and James Busher and all those guys, those 4 trucks that pitted just in the last 2 or 3 laps, they should be able to get the wave around and get back on the tail end of the lead lap.
Joey Coulter, Nelson Piquet Jr. amongst those 4 that had just come on to pit road.
Still going to cost them a lot of their track position.
Sure is.
They'll be behind for a while. Still a lot of racing left to go, though.
Austin Dillon had just gone in between the 16 and the 93. That gap closed, and then the 16 of John King goes around.
Yeah, Jason did a nice job avoiding John King. Let's take another look at it. Here, there. This is the battle going down the backstretch. Watch Austin Dillon shoot the gap there. Jason wanted to go through there, but the hole closed.
Jason said there's a lot of room there when Austin went through. I think I'll go with him, but there wasn't any room, and they all just sort of had to check up and maybe make some moves to. I'm sure the spotter was in John King's ear saying, hey man, you got one looking, and that messes up your rhythm, and the thing got away from him. you have to understand that's how close to out of control these cats are every lap. You know, they run right on the edge of control, and John had to get away from him.
In qualifying earlier, we saw trucks making it upwards of 174 miles an hour around this racetrack. That's the average, so they are definitely hauling it here in Kentucky.
And you've got some guys, Rick, that have been to pit road. We saw Elliott Sadler, our leader, come to pit road. Nelson Piquet Jr. Those guys will get to go around on the wave around as these other trucks pit, I'm sure. But they'll have to fight for the back now, just like Kyle did earlier.
That's right. But when we went to the double file restarts and they started the wave around, and that's fairly new to our sport. But right now, if you're running a lap down and everybody in front of you that's on the lead lap comes to pit road, then you will be able to hold your position, and then when we get ready to restart, they will allow you to go past the pace car and catch up with the back of the pack.
Making sure that the truck that is scored #1 is going to be in front of every other truck.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It took us 50 years to figure it out, but it's so cool now, because remember how the restarts used to get all jumbled up every now and then? The leader might be running 8th or 10th. Now the leader's always first. Everything in front of him is cleaned out of the way.
Here comes some trucks onto pit road. We go to Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, Kyle Busch brings his truck to pit road. He's been loose on entry. It'll be 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and a slight air pressure adjustment for Kyle Busch. Ray?
At the top of the screen, you see Austin Dillon. They were going for 4, but they say audible. Let's go 2 tires only. We found this out in practice, that these tires will go for a long, long time. They'll go 2 tires, and Dillon will be away. Should be a fast stop. On the other end, Johnny Sauter said, maybe we have a tire problem. We've got to go with 4 down here. They go with 4 tires, a track bar adjustment, trying to tighten his truck up. And at the end, they decided to go with 4 for Austin Dillon. It took a long time, and he's going to lose about 12 or 13 spots.
Yeah, actually, Austin's being shown losing 6 positions. Jason White will come out in the 6th spot, and he will lose 2 spots. Ray?
Well, Phil, apparently, see, the hose got stuck there. As they dropped the jack, the hose was underneath the right rear tire. So as they did that, then they couldn't get it out, so they came around and said, well, now we're already stuck here. And Danny called it and said, do 4 tires. So once they get the 4 tires and Austin drives away, he'll let that hose come loose. So because they dropped the jack so quickly, the hose got stuck under the right rear.
I'm just always amazed when a pit stop goes off without a hitch like that. All those moving parts and pieces, 20-something lug nuts on, 20 off. I mean, it's amazing. Air hoses, jacks, people running every which way, but these guys make it look routine.
Yeah, and that's repetition. They practice this each and every week.
Kyle Busch won the race off of pit road with a 15-second pit stop. So pretty impressive for Kyle Busch. They're going to close in on 100 wins in NASCAR. Around goes the 16 of John King, bringing our most recent caution.